Tragic story of the man who tried to live with grizzly bears. New York man Timothy Treadwell always said he hated modern civilization and felt like he belonged in nature living with bears. So he spent 13 summers living among Alaskan grizzly bears, documenting their behavior and advocating for their protection. But in 2003, Timothy and his girlfriend Amy, who was terrified of bears, were camping at a grizzly site much later in the year than normal, at a time when bears try to gain as much fat as possible before hibernation, making them much more aggressive than usual. Some of the last footage recorded by Treadwell hours before his death showed one particular bear that he said he didn't feel very comfortable around. This was believed to be the bear that would end up murdering Timothy, as his mangled spine, right arm, and head with a fixed grimace on his face were soon found near the camp. His girlfriend's partial remains were also found nearby, and the gruesome audio was captured by his camera. But authorities have refused to release the recordings to this day. In 2002, Pennsylvania mother Brenda Heist completely disappeared after dropping her 2 kids off at school. 11 years later, she was found living with a group of homeless people in Key West, Florida. Investigators found out she was upset about an upcoming divorce and wanted to completely abandon her life as she knew it. Brenda survived by living under bridges and eating scraps of food until she got tired of running and decided to turn herself in. Her family wanted nothing to do with her since they thought she'd been dead for years, and her ex-husband was even treated as a suspect for her supposed murder. In 1992, legendary comedian Sam Kinison died at 38 when a drunk driver crossed the median and ran head-on into Sam's car. After the crash, Kinison appeared to be stable at first, but quickly succumbed to internal bleeding after smashing into his windshield because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Just before dying, he reportedly muttered, "Why now?" before pausing and asking, "But why?" And after another long pause, he said, okay, as his final words. A friend who was with him at the time later recalled, whatever voice was talking to him gave him the right answer, and he just relaxed with it. The driver was sentenced to 1-year probation and 300 hours of community service. This photo was taken by sailors who saw a girl sitting on a disintegrating float near the Bahamas. 4 days prior, her whole family was murdered on their sailboat by their hired captain, who left the girl to drown with the sinking boat, but she miraculously made it to the lifeboat. Upon hearing that she survived, the captain took his own life. This 1994 photo shows OJ holding hands with his children at the funeral of their mother and his ex-wife, Nicole Simpson Brown. She was brutally stabbed to death, purportedly by OJ himself, even though he was famously acquitted in court a few months later. During the funeral, OJ reportedly spent a significant amount of time with Nicole's body and was even seen kissing her on the lips. OJ's father was a well-known drag queen in San Francisco and died of AIDS in 1986. Soon after OJ was acquitted, he wrote a book called If I Did It. It was a hypothetical description of the murders if he had actually committed them, and he knew he wouldn't be tried in court thanks to double jeopardy laws. The victims' families responded by suing and won all rights to the book, eventually changing the word "if" to appear really small on the cover. But in the nearly 30 years since Ron Goldman's family won a $33.5 million civil judgment against OJ for wrongful death, he had only paid the family about $500K. In March of 1998, 23-year-old Virginia woman Amy Lynn Bradley was on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship to Curacao when she suddenly vanished from the balcony of her cabin around 6 a.m. The Coast Guard conducted a 4-day search in surrounding waters but found no trace of her, so authorities concluded that she simply fell overboard and drowned. But in the years since, there have been several reported sightings of Amy that suggest she may have been kidnapped and forced into human trafficking. 1 year after she went missing, a U.S. Navy sailor claimed he met a woman named Amy in a Barbados brothel who matched her description and begged him for help, but he didn't report it at the time. In 2005, an anonymous email was sent to Amy's family containing 2 photographs of a sex worker who closely resembled Amy, but nothing ever came of it. Despite various other sightings of the woman with men holding on to her, Amy Lynn Bradley was declared legally dead in March of 2010, 12 years after her disappearance. In 2021, Tessica Brown ran out of her regular hairspray, so she tried using Gorilla Glue spray instead. Her hair then became stuck to her scalp for more than a month, despite hundreds of attempts to wash it out. Brown says she felt so helpless that she stopped eating and lost more than 10 pounds over a short span. Eventually, a plastic surgeon performed a 4-hour-long surgery on her for free to remove the adhesive. Once described as a genius, Russian man Anatoly was a well-respected linguist and historian until he was discovered to be living with the corpses of 26 girls in his parents' home. He apparently dug them up from local cemeteries before mummifying and dressing them like dolls. Anatoly's parents were well aware of the dolls but had no idea they contained real human corpses. After his arrest, Moskvin stated that he had great sympathy for the dead children and believed that one day they could be brought back to life through science or black magic. He's been forced to live in a mental hospital since 2012. While filming Night at the Museum 3, Williams struggled with constant panic attacks and often had trouble remembering even one line. He was told by multiple doctors that he didn't have Alzheimer's, dementia, or schizophrenia and was simply diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. But his autopsy later revealed that he'd been suffering from a severe form of dementia and lost more than 40% of the dopamine neurons in his brain. Experts were completely stunned by how much the disease had ravaged his system. One doctor said, "This was about as devastating a form of Lewy body dementia as I've ever seen. It really amazed me that Robin could even walk or move at all." After having his leg amputated due to cancer, 21-year-old Terry Fox started running across Canada to raise money for cancer research. Every day he ran a full marathon for 143 straight days until his cancer worsened, forcing him to stop. He ran a total of 3,338 miles, and his fundraiser has helped raise more than $600 million to date. Ludmila Pavlichenko, the most successful female sniper in history, struggled to pull the trigger on her first few kills. But that all changed when she saw a German soldier shoot a young Russian boy. She said, "He was such a nice, happy boy. After that, nothing could stop me." She went on to record 309 confirmed kills against the Nazis. During World War II, American Private Edward Ahrens was found clutching a sword surrounded by 13 dead Japanese soldiers. Clinging on to life, his last words were, "I guess they didn't know I was a Marine." Christopher Lee, the actor who played Saruman in The Lord of the Rings and Count Dooku in Star Wars, was related to Confederate General Robert E. Lee, was a flight lieutenant in the British Royal Air Force and killed multiple Nazis, climbed Mount Vesuvius 3 days before it erupted, tripped over a live bomb and survived, and released a death metal album at the age of 88. During World War II, French weightlifter Charles Rigoleau was jailed after punching a Nazi guard. He then broke out of the cell by bending the bars, allowed other prisoners to escape with him, and then beat the guard who jailed him. Lachman Gurung was a Gurkha soldier during World War II who once threw back 2 enemy grenades from his trench before the third one exploded in his hand. He then single-handedly defended his post for over 4 hours against 200 Japanese enemies, killing 31 soldiers using only his left hand. He ended up surviving and was awarded the Victoria Cross for his actions, the highest and rarest honor in the British Army. In 2017, 16-year-old cross-country runner Patrick Cooper was participating in a mountain race in Alaska when he suddenly took a wrong turn and became lost. At some point, Patrick called his family members and informed them that he was being chased by an aggressive black bear. His mangled corpse was eventually found by another runner who went searching for Patrick after finishing the race. In the year 2000, Pakistani archaeologists announced the incredible discovery of an ancient mummy, believed to be the daughter of Persian King Xerxes the Great. This sparked a heated diplomatic dispute, with both Iran and Pakistan fighting over ownership of the amazing find. However, after closer examination, museum curators discovered that the mummy was actually a woman who died from blunt force trauma in 1996. It may have even been the victim of a violent murder. Several people were arrested for the massive hoax, but the woman's identity and the details surrounding her death remain unclear to this day. This surveillance image shows 14-year-old Noah Donahoe riding his bike fully unclothed on the day he went missing while apparently heading to meet some friends in Belfast. 6 days later, his body was discovered in a storm drain, with an autopsy confirming drowning as the cause of death, but his family is convinced he was murdered. Earlier this year, 41-year-old Ohio mother Tamara Banks was sentenced to 9 years in prison for the death of her daughter. Banks and her husband fed the girl almost nothing but Mountain Dew through a baby bottle, causing her teeth to rot and a severe case of diabetes, which eventually killed her. During the war, Pope Pius XII told the United States that he couldn't confirm reports that Germany was executing Jews. But in 2020, newly declassified documents revealed that he was lying and knew that the Holocaust was happening all along. Here's a photo of a Japanese boy waiting for his turn to cremate his dead little brother towards the end of the war. When the guard said, "Give me that load, boy," he replied saying, "It's not cargo, sir, he's my brother." After escaping from a POW camp, Australian soldier Robert Kerr McLaren removed his own appendix in the middle of a Philippine jungle. He did it without any anesthetic and only used a razor blade, mirror, and plant fibers for stitches. The operation took 4.5 hours to perform and he made a full recovery. British mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing is the man who cracked the Enigma code during World War II. He's estimated to have shortened the war by at least 2 years and to have saved 14 million lives. But despite his heroism, he was later charged for being a homosexual and forced to undergo chemical castration. 2 years later, he took his own life by drinking cyanide.